Sometimes our misfortunes can be sails that take us to the shores we're meant to be on. Now, this quote comes from the show Dune Prophecy. That's irrelevant, but the words are a perfect metaphor for second chances in the urban mosaic. So the urban mosaic is just a collection of souls from different ethnicities, faiths, occupations, and sometimes misfortune takes them to places like New Jersey Reentry Corporation, headquartered right here in Jersey City. So my name is Damon Watson, and I am the Senior Director of Legal Services and Corporate Development for NJRC. Our mission is to destroy employment barriers for folks returning home from incarceration. Since we were founded in 2014, NJRC has touched the lives of over 36,000 people. I'm gonna tell you about one of them. Where's the clicker? You have a clicker? I'll give you a second chance. Thank you. So, his mother was a high-functioning alcoholic and also a paralegal and a teacher. And his father, despite being one of the first black men in the country with a JD and an MD, was also a physically abusive drug addict. So despite the chaos and trauma that he obviously suffered, our guy made it all the way through to grad school, started a great career, got married, had a couple of kids, and it was as if his whole world was just about to explode. So over a period of about 5 years, he lost 6 family members: mother, father, 2 grandmothers, grandfather, aunt. So what do you think happened? Depression, addiction, divorce, job loss, homeless, incarceration, 9 months in county jail. Then he gets out, needs a job, right? So gets a lot of offers, grad school, but all of them pulled because of his record. So what does he do? Back to crime. Locked up again, 11 months, except this time he got a sign. He read an article about NJRC. He saw Providence. So he gets out, finds NJRC, gets a job, then gets a better job, gets fit, joins a bike club, starts dating, gets remarried, and now, sober, crime-free, 8 years and counting. Now, it's a pretty good story, right? Belongs to that guy. So I'm going to let that sink in just for a second, and I'm going to answer to what are probably pretty obvious questions. 1, yes, despite clear and convincing visual evidence to the contrary, I am a black man. Now, I am. When you take a light-skinned man from Alabama and a Creole woman from Louisiana, and you mash it all together, well, you know, you get what you get. Next, yes, I was a homeless felon addict. Still a little raw. It was suboptimal. And it took a long time for me to be able to share this with anybody, like pride, shame, messing with me. But I finally shared my story with a guy named Jacob Brown. He's a good friend now, look him up. And he told me, your story has a lot of power in it. You could really save lives. You need to start speaking, and you need to get on it right now. So, here I am. Now, so here I am speaking to you, the urban mosaic. And like the many tiles that make up the urban mosaic, second chances, reentry, can look like anyone or anything. I mean, take me. I'm black, but I look pretty white, right? I went from, well, that's the tent I lived in on Skid Row, but I forgot to do the slide there. But I went from Princeton to prison, Harvard to homeless, bottomed out. So, got to go back up, right? I went from state custody to 3 state championships. That one happened just last month. Then, I went from iron bars to Iron Man. Been working on my branding, right? Now, here's the thing. When I was released from jail the first time, I couldn't vote. It was like I wasn't part of the country, right? That hurt. And I know some of you probably know how that feels. So I did something about it. I went and I qualified for the World Championships. And when I represent Team USA, instead of this, I'll be wearing that. And that is what my redemption looks like. So am I just bragging now? Yeah, it's awesome, right? But the braggadocio is in service of an important point. You see, I did all of that, and there's nothing special about me, right? Like, I know it's not for everyone. It's for anyone. You know, one of my coworkers, I showed her this slide, she's here, and she looks at me and she's like, Damon, I just want your life sometimes. I said, okay, go get it. It's right there. All you have to do is believe in yourself, because when you do that, others can start to put their belief in you, and that is going to empower you. So, with me, a lot of people believed in me along the way. A lot of them are here today. A lot of them have come pretty far to come see this, and I thank you. But Howard Mann, he believed in me. He gave me a job as a paralegal, even after doing a very deep dive on my record. And I was locked up 11 months, and during that time, he kept that job open for me, despite the fact that I was extradited from right in front of his office. That's belief. Now, my wife, Gigi, she believed in me too. She didn't have to. No one would have blamed her. So it's early in our relationship. She says to me, tell me something shameful. You know, something about you not a lot of people know. Okay. I'm like, are you sure about that? She just stared at me. I said, all right, this is my chance to have an honest relationship. So I emptied the tank, right? Depression, death, addiction, divorce, Skid Row, meth, tent, jail, the whole thing. She just stared at me. Said, anything else? Oh, I am so lucky. Now, there are levels to this, and I believe that I've been on most of them, right? My book smarts were cultivated in ivory towers, but my street smarts, such that they are, and my empathy were forged on Skid Row and in county jails. I read Ed Milet, who showed me that you are most qualified to help the person that you used to be. Right. I suffered and struggled with my own addiction, incarceration, reentry, and now I get to help thousands with theirs. I'm proof positive that you can come back from impossible circumstances. Skid Row? You ever been there? Meth? You don't come back from that. But you can. Because no matter how bad things get, no matter how hopeless you are, no matter how dark the darkness is that creeps in around you, there's always a way back. But you have to ask for the help. And when you do, when you get that second chance, well, now you have to earn it. How do I do it? I set the tone every day. I wake up, I ask myself, what impossible thing am I going to do today to make myself better? I look for things I can't do, because that's how I find out what I can do. I waste no time. I finish what I start. I'm going to start right now. I always show gratitude. I always produce excellence over perfection, and I always find good in the bad. Take this. I gained all that fitness on a bike, but then arrested, back to jail. Jail, no bike. What do? I ran a lot in cheap jail shoes, in concrete yards, blisters on my feet. It sucked. But you know what? If I don't go back to jail, I don't have Team USA. I don't have Ironman. I don't see that article about NJRC. I don't make it to this red dot. You see, misfortune was my sale. So then the last thing I do every day is I remind myself, I'm not better than anyone, but I believe I can make anyone better. And that's basically reentry for me. So New Jersey Reentry, we all serve a singular purpose, to help our participants change their lives. One of the ways that we do that is through criminal record expungements. So when the New Jersey expungement portal went live a few years ago, we started our program, and since then, we've expunged nearly 130 full criminal records, which is great, because now everybody in that 130, they get to hang on to those job offers without fear of them being pulled when their record comes back dirty, because that's how it happens, right? For employers, this is cold hard math. How do I know this person's not going to offend against the company? I'm going to tell you how, because if they do, they're going to go to jail, right? And how am I so sure about that? Well, one, jail, okay? Jail is jail. Don't forget that part. But two, let me just relay a couple of my experiences to give you some perspective. First, the naked and afraid. So when I processed into Los Angeles County Supermax facility, I was ushered into a giant room with a bunch of other sweaty men, told to take off all my clothes, throw it on the table in front of me, bend over, pull my butt cheeks apart, while a corrections officer shined a flashlight up in there to make sure that I hadn't keistered any drugs. It was humiliating, it was dehumanizing, it was degrading, and it may have only lasted 30 seconds, but that was too long. Next, the racial draft. So I walk into LA County Jail dorm, and I'm confronted by 4 men of different races. The white, or Peckerwood, that is what they call themselves, I'm not making that up, steps forward and says, hey man, come with me, like let me show you your bunk, let me give you your things. But the black guy puts his hand out and says, hold up, let me see your wristband. Damon Watson. Sounds like a black name. Yeah. What are you, mixed? Yeah. Creole? Yeah. He's with us. And that was it. That was it. Decades of race relations, poof, gone. Just like that. And then the race politics kick in. Now, race politics, they're different. They're rules. Every race has their own set. And if you break them, you will be punished. So this white kid comes in, fresh off the street, trying to make the best of things. He's happy, decides he's going to chop it up with the blacks. Rapping, dancing. This is not the way. The Woods did not like that. So 10 of them stalked him to the back and beat him senseless. And I honestly still remember his screams. So I ask you, you think if you hire that kid that he's going to risk going back to all of that nonsense? Don't get it twisted. It's not going to go like that. If you hire that guy, he might turn out to be the best hire you ever made because he's going to grab onto that job with both hands. Or he might at least be Employee of the Month. So I just need to know, by a show of hands, how many of you in this mosaic right now, who believes in second chances? Who thinks they can believe in second chances? All right, great. Take a look around. If you're not into it, you're outnumbered, right? So I'm pretty much out of time, and I got a lot of stories to tell. Like that time that I got hit by that car when I was homeless and high, nearly died. That was a bad story. Or that time like a few weeks ago, my lawyers wrote me to tell me my expungement was finally granted. But I don't have time to tell you about that. But I'll make you a promise. If you ever find yourselves back on these mosaic shores, and you're brought here by misfortune, curiosity, or something else, if you promise that you're willing to listen and keep an open mind and embrace the idea of second chances, I can promise you, where's my last slide? There's a picture of me at Ironman doing that, and I say, I'll be right here, and we could run it back.